As Rob mentioned earlier this morning, when you index datasets to geography, you see where things converge. You see systems, interdependencies, and you see risk before it becomes a crisis. Integrating a digital twin with real-time sensor data can help predict and mitigate against disruption to critical infrastructure. To demonstrate the power of this, Morgan Stewart and Aaron Taggart will showcase our incredible physical diorama and matching digital twin. Please welcome to the stage Morgan and Aaron.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we're going to show you how real-world disasters can be monitored in ArcGIS using our physical model and our digital twin in ArcGIS Online. So what is a digital twin? They're authentic representations of a system in the physical world, but what makes them different from a diagram or a map of a system is that a digital twin doesn't just look like the system it's representing, it also behaves like it. That means you can give a set of inputs and they'll respond to these as the real-world system would. This is where digital twins can bring real value. They can tell us how a critical system would respond to a situation that is never seen before, like extreme weather. But critical systems rarely operate in isolation. They always rely on other systems to function. Take something as essential as drinking water. It, of course, relies on a functioning network of water pipes to operate, but to construct and maintain these pipes, it also relies on a transport network, a functioning electricity network for treatment and pumping. It also requires the internet for the staff and the facilities to communicate. These systems are so entangled that a seemingly small disruption in one network can have a significant and often unpredictable ripple effects in the dependent networks. To keep providing these essential services, we need to model these dependencies in our digital twins. We need to model how one system will interact with another. But where do we even begin? The answer lies in geography. Everything in the physical world has a location, and because of that, we can think of geography as a universal index that gives us a common framework to connect systems and combine different data sets. Whether it's wind speeds, a distribution of a rare species, or a network of water pipes, if it has a location, we can map it. To show you what we mean and to help demonstrate the power of geography, we're going to be taking a step away from the digital world of GIS, where we spent most of today, and back into the era of physical mapping.
Thanks, Morgan. So I'd like to start by introducing you to our physical model, or diorama. We can imagine this physical model as Rathdrum at the foot of the Wicklow Mountains, serving as a physical twin of the area. So if we could just get a feed on the diorama, please. It features terrain from elevation data, vegetation that matches a natural environment, roads and neighbourhoods that reflect those you would find in the actual area, and it's even got its own power network. As well as building a physical twin, we have also built a digital twin of the same area. So if we can just split the screen so we can see the digital twin. Today we want to explore how we can use IoT sensors and perform real-time analysis on our digital twin. So the same features are represented on both our digital and physical twins. The road network is a little more complicated here on our digital twin, and we've got a few more buildings and trees. So each building in our diorama is represented by about 10 buildings in our digital twin, and each physical tree is represented by about 20 digital trees. The most impressive thing about our physical and digital twins is that they are both in sync. So what's represented in one will be reflected in the other. To make this demo possible, we've positioned various sensors around our diorama. We have a water sensor on the riverbed, monitoring the water level, and a light sensor monitoring the light level. So if I open my settings panel, we can see the raw values of these fluctuating slightly with the light and moisture levels in the room. We've done a good job of covering them up, but there's even some sensors to monitor the model's very own utility network. To give you a bit of a taster of the capabilities we've added, I'm going to focus on one of the local neighbourhoods. This neighbourhood has a particular focus on renewable energy, and aims to be completely self-sufficient and sustainable. Because of this, the town runs entirely on solar power. There are no backup generators, no storage, just solar panels. This means that when there is no sun, the neighborhood has no power. So if we could just dim the lights, please. The light sensor in the physical twin is picking up in that change in light level and reflecting it in our digital twin. So we can start to see some houses losing power on both our diorama and our map. We can see the digital twin properties have turned red. But for now, let's put the neighborhood out of its misery and bring the lights back up. So now it's time we looked at another scenario. As we all know a little too well, we are in Ireland and this area experiences its fair share of rain. So we will now begin to simulate some very heavy rainfall on our model. This will help test the resiliency of the physical twin and give me a chance to show some of the capabilities of our digital twin. So if I zoom into my river and open the hydrology panel, I can now monitor the river level. So Morgan, could you please begin the flooding scenario? As the rain starts to fall and the river is starting to fill up, because our digital twin is being performed by a sensor on the riverbed, not only can we see the digital river fill up in sync with our model, but we can also perform some real-time analysis too. The large volume of water has been detected by our sensor, and a real-time flooding scenario is now being performed in our digital twin. Because of this real-time analysis, we can see some of the properties being flooded on our map. This type of flooding analysis allows us to act fast during real-world emergencies. Unfortunately for our physical twin, the rain has brought some heavy winds with it. We are about to put our physical and digital twins through their paces. So Morgan, could you act out the wind for me? Because of the strong winds, a number of trees, cows, and horses have fallen down, including a tree that has fallen on a power line, taking it out of service. And the wind has cut the power supply for the neighborhood in the center as well. Unlike before with our solar neighborhood, the power line coming down has clearly had a bigger impact than just the electricity network. There are quite a few notifications here. By removing the power line, we have triggered an update of the utility network data set that powers the functionality in the digital twin. For those who haven't worked with a utility network data set before, this is Esri's tool for building digital twins of utility networks. We're using two here, one for the town's electric and one for the water. We've linked the two with geography so that we can model the complex relationship between them. So if we can just take a look at our digital twin for a moment and switch off the diorama feed. We can now see I have several buildings in red, which means they have no power. But now half the town is also covered in an orange polygon, meaning they also have no water. This suggests that the water network for this side of the town was relying specifically on that energy, on that electricity connection. So in the first half of this demo, we have used our real-time data to provide invaluable insights when monitoring the complex impact of a crisis. Now let's see how the same digital twin can be used as a decision support tool to try and fix the havoc caused by the storm. The notification on the screen at the moment lets me know that one of the town's emergency centres has gone offline, so it no longer has power or water. Emergency centres have been set up by the local council to provide shelter, amenities, and information for those in need. There's two of these, one on each side of the river. It looks like the one on the right is located within this cluster of red buildings without power, and within this no water polygon. This is a serious situation, so we need to understand who has been affected. Due to the emergency plan being managed by a multi-agency partnership, each stakeholder has their own list of vulnerable people collected in different formats. So how can I quickly unify this data? One solution is to use some of the latest advances in AI. With this panel here, I can drop in the files from the different organizations. So I've got a CSV, some GeoJSON, and a KMZ, and these contain the addresses for the people needing to access the emergency centres. If I select those, a large language model will add a common structure and merge this into a single table. From there, the tool geocodes, meaning I can display these as addresses as graphics. So now I can see where my emergency users are, and I can run routine analysis to find out whether they can access the centre. So the analysis is displayed in both the routes on the map and in my metrics panel on the left. Because this emergency centre has gone offline, all the people originally allocated there will have to relocate across the river. As we can see from the routing, all routes lead to the centre on the left. A lot of them are heading over this bridge. But what happens if the storm intensifies and water levels continue to rise? The bridge could be blocked or even swept away. Let's turn the camera on again for our diorama and see what happens when the bridge is removed. Our sensors have picked up on Morgan sweeping the bridge away and communicated that with our digital twin. I can see that around 37% of vulnerable people are now unable to access any emergency centre at all. In a matter of seconds, my digital twin has allowed me to identify another point of failure within the town's set of networks. So one of the events that caused the biggest impact was the electricity network being disconnected. This led to a quarter of the town losing power, including one of our emergency centres. The loss of power also impacted on one of the water pumping stations, causing half the town to lose its water. All this from one pylon falling down during the storm. Knowing that the falling pylon causes catastrophic domino effect, I can use my physical and digital twins and their utility networks to model an alternative. So Morgan, can you please try locating the pylon away from the tree where it's less likely to get toppled? Let's look at what impact this has had. The power to the network is restored, the water is running again, and despite the bridge being blocked, the emergency centres are open once again. By modelling these events, my digital twin has shown me that this could be a mutually beneficial investment for everyone involved. And this is the power of geography. When we take the geographic approach, we're not only able to identify isolated problems, but to look more holistically. If we look slightly beyond our areas of expertise, outside our departments and even our organisations, and are inquisitive about what others are doing with their spatial data, as I'm sure a lot of you have been doing today, the opportunities to collaborate in building these geographic-rich pictures or digital twins will reveal themselves. And what they could tell us is key to addressing some of those challenges in our time. Thank you for listening.